The Burning of Washington, D.C. by Christina Tran.
The British was in the middle of a war with the United States. At the start, this war was to stop U.S. campaigns against Canada. Now, Great Britain wanted to end the war. So, with the newly acquired troops from Napoleon Bonaparte's defeat, Great Britain set out to invade and defeat the United States of America. Rear Admiral George Cockburn, who had been commanding in Chesapeake since 1813, contacted Vice Admiral Alexander Cruikshank and stressed about the low defenses of major cities in the United States. The cities that Cruikshank suggested were Baltimore, Washington, and Philadelphia. Cockburn decided on Washington, D.C. since it was easier to attack. Also, burning the city would have a greater political effect. Also, it was revenge on the Americans for attacking the northern shore of Lake Erie. On July 18th, Cruikshank gave Cockburn the orders to lay waste and destroy any towns or districts that are open to attack. However, the second part of the order was much kinder. Cruikshank said, "You will merely spare the lives of unarmed inhabitants living within the United States." And so, the British set off. Commander Joshua Barney, an American, commanded a couple of ships that deterred the Royal Navy in Chesapeake. After his defeat, Barney and his men destroyed all of their ships, joined up with some Marines, and headed towards Washington. Upon reaching Washington, the volunteers discovered that the British were actually headed to Bladensburg, so they rushed over to meet the oncoming troops. Even though the Americans greatly outnumbered the British, they were defeated by the disciplined and experienced soldiers. Right after the battle, the British sent out an advance guard to Capitol Hill, a neighborhood in our capital. Major General Robert Ross, who had been in command of the attack, sent another group under a flag of truce to negotiate, but were attacked walking through the city. Other than that attack, there was no other resistance. Negotiations weren't made. The buildings housing the House of Representatives and the Senate were torched. The insides of the buildings, which contained the Library of Congress, were destroyed. Later, Thomas Jefferson sold his personal library to restock the Library of Congress. After torching the Library of Congress, soldiers proceeded towards the White House. After the officials had left, First Lady Dolly Madison stayed to organize the slaves and staff to save the valuables in the White House. One valuable being the priceless portrait of George Washington, painted by Gilbert Stuart. The British had reached the building soon after the lady had fled. That night, fuel was added to ensure that the fire would not burn out. The Burning of Washington, D.C. (1814) by Christina Tran.
I want to check it right away.
Yeah.